RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. Hey, guys. How's it going? How's it sounding? Nice to see you. Glad I could set the chat up before the show started. That was a nice thing. Let's keep it up, Devlin. Let's keep it up. Nice to see everybody. My name is Tara Devlin. How is it sounding? How is it looking? Everyone who is the producer of the show will let me know. Let me see. I'm actually a little sick tonight. I was sick yesterday. I did the Tara show yesterday, but barely. And I went to jury duty on, when the hell was that? Wednesday. I got dismissed, but I sat there all day, and I don't know. Maybe I picked something up. Uh-oh. That's Substack. And anyway, so yesterday I was kind of sick, and I'm a little achy. That's all. So I'm just letting you know, maybe I won't go for the whole show tonight. We will do the Progressive Voices part of the show, no doubt. And tonight we have a special guest, an author. And we're going to have in the next few weeks a couple of more authors will be on to discuss their books. Tonight's guest is Judy Karofsky, and she wrote a book called DisElderly Conduct. She's going to call in at 9, and it's about, the subtitle is The Flawed Business of Assisted Living and Hospice. She's going to talk about her experience navigating through this effed up system that we have, this disgraceful diselderly care system. Yes, Twisted Nerves Painting says, need to boost the vitamin C and zinc and stay hydrated. You're right. I need to take more vitamins and stuff. I guess I'm not taking care of myself enough. I'm not getting enough rest. And yesterday I knew I was I don't know if I had a fever or anything, but you know when you're sick and you go into a deep sleep and then you wake up and it's only 20 minutes later? That's what it was like. So I was like, oh man, I must be really sick. And I'm very achy. So I think I just need a couple of more nights sleep. Yesterday, I do feel a lot better than I did yesterday. So, you get out of here. Josie Justice on the chat. I just bought Diselderly Conduct. That's amazing. So when Judy comes on, if you have any questions, I'd certainly love to hear them, and I'm sure she would love to answer them. That's amazing. What great kismet we have here on the Tarabuster community. So for those who don't know, we meet here every Friday evening, 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Time, right here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/C4channel/Tarabuster. The show is rebroadcast on Progressive Voices on Sunday. And right now, the show is also being simulcast on the Political Voices Substack. If you're on that network or that place, there's so many places, right? But thank you. Nice to see you if you're there. I'm actually trying to find you, but I can't at this moment. It's okay. I'm a one-man band here, and I'm not really cooking with gas tonight. I hate to tell you. It is what it is. We are, we do it anyway. That's what I always say. We don't wait for things to be perfect. We do it anyway because, fascism isn't taking a day off either. So before Judy calls in at 9, where do we begin? I'm looking forward to talking to Judy because wouldn't it be nice to just be able to have a normal talk show where you can interview authors and whatnot? And, you wouldn't constantly have this sort of fascist Damocles hanging over your head. Well, today I just can't believe how, when I think they've gone far enough that the trapdoor opens and we're in Dante's fascist inferno, 24 flights down into the basement and more. Like today, when this illegitimate and corrupt Supreme Court took the country one step closer to having a king. They, answer me this, riddle me this, people. Is there anything, or how do I put this question? Has there ever been anything that right-wingers have done to improve this country? Okay, anybody? If you have any ideas, leave them in the chat. Let me know. I'd like to know. All they do is add chaos. They destroy the things that normal people create and try to make a government that works for the general welfare, not the welfare of Elon Musk. But, it takes a long time to build something, but it takes seconds to tear it down. And that's what the Republicans are good at. Back in the Obama years, when Obama was being inaugurated, the night of his inauguration, when the Republicans met at the caucus room in Washington, D.C. to hatch their caucus room conspiracy, as it came to be known, where they vowed to obstruct everything that Obama did to cause pain for the American people for political gain. So they were going to obstruct everything. And mind you, this was not when, like, for example, when a Democrat hands the keys to the government over to a Republican, it wasn't a good economy. There wasn't a balanced budget. There wasn't the most record jobs and the lowest unemployment in 50 years, right? It wasn't like that. It wasn't the inflation under control, finally, and people paying less for health care and drugs and all that Joe Biden tried to do and was doing, and the baboon is destroying. It was when we were on the verge of the near Republican Great Depression, the second Republican Great Depression in 100 years. And the Republicans said that what they were going to do to answer their response to Obama's election would be that they would stop anything he tried to do to throw anyone a lifeline, hoping that the American people would be mad because they're so dumb. And of course they have Fox News and the propaganda outlets. It's even worse now, that they could just continue to tell them that it's the brown people, it's that dirty, filthy Obama. He might even be a Muslim, and, he's a socialist, communist, everything that they don't ever define or understand. And that was their response to a crisis. And I'm bringing it up again because it's another example of how they aren't governing for the American people. These are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. They don't give a whit about the American people. They're not trying to solve problems. They're creating problems. They're standing in the way. As William F. Buckley said, conservatism stands athwart history, yelling stop. Well, this is what the Republicans are doing today. And they have done throughout history. So maybe I missed something, but if anybody knows, is there anything that a right-winger, a conservative, a Republican, even a normal one, if there are any left, has done to help this country, to keep us progressing, to help people? No, they cut lifelines. Even the so-called good ones, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, that were run out of town on a rail because they couldn't cross that last line of being an outright traitor like the rest of them. But they voted with Trump 99% of the time. We wouldn't have to be dealing with this. Is that proper English? I don't know. We wouldn't have to deal with this. That sounds better. If Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney had joined us in voting for the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which would have made it illegal to gerrymander districts, and it would have stopped the Republican dirty tricks that kick people off the voting rolls. It would have made the elections in this country freer and fairer and more, for the people. More, but that's not what the Republicans want. You understand that. I know you do. That's why you're here. And thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting the show. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin and all that stuff. And thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for being a good, decent person. We need about 1 million more of you. And everyone else. And thank you, Jim, for being a moderator in the chat and also being a moderator at the Tara Show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. All right. And here we go. Here comes the music. Hold on a second. We'll be right back. All right. Listen, like and subscribe and all that stuff if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell to let you know when the show goes live. All right, guys. And I see some people over at the Substack. Nice to see you. Nice to see you guys. All right. I'm just saying hello to Substack. And okay. Yeah, so anyone, I don't hear anybody giving me a response. I'm serious. Is there anything? Has there ever been a policy that the Republicans, I'm trying not to say Republicans, but it comes out. Because that's who they are. But has there ever been a policy that has made America better? I don't know. How can I have a little bit of a fever. My brain is a little not working. By a lot, as Trump might say. So, everybody understands that. Yeah, nobody, I don't see anybody, no one really has any ideas. No, because Republicans, look at what happened on September 11th, 2001. How many years did it take to build the Trade Center? And how many seconds did it take for it to come down? That's the Republican Party, and they are the ones who said on the night of the caucus room conspiracy that they would be a Taliban-like insurgency against Obama and now the Democratic Party. These freaks can't even say the name of the Democratic Party. It's absolute and outright gaslighting at every turn. I was just watching, let me see if I can find it, on Twitter, Mike Johnson going on about this bullshit 12-day war that Trader Trump started unnecessarily, and I wrote an article about that at Substack, and I guess he did it to, I'm reluctant to call it the 12-day war, but because that's all he does is brand shit, but I wrote all about it at the Political Voices Substack that and now it's being confirmed too, even the day that he bombed Iran illegally without constitutional authority or congressional authority or approval, he didn't he didn't obliterate their nuclear program by any sense of the imagination or any stretch of it. He at most might have set them back about 6 months. Now remember, we had a deal already. Obama signed that deal. What other deal would there be? We had inspectors going in, they were being monitored, but the fact is, the warmongers, Benjamin Netanyahu and his ilk, they would rather have a war with Iran than a neighbor that is non-nuclear and in the community of trading partners, I would say. It's because what else does Netanyahu have? Really, he's also in the presidency to escape the consequences of his life of crime. So, Trader Trump, what was happening? Elon Musk, the greatest parasite on earth, tweeted about how Trader Trump is a damn pedophile who palled around with Jeffrey Epstein. You remember how the Republicans would assault us at all times about how Obama palled around with Bill Ayers, palling around with terrorists? I mean, it's the only thing they're consistent in is their hypocrisy. But, okay, so I can't find that clip. It doesn't matter. But the other thing I saw was Chuck Schumer. Oh, my Lord. Help us. He's giving another speech on the Senate floor. Let me see. Schumer. I mean, how dare they, really? I'm really disappointed, of course, but not surprised that they haven't endorsed the future mayor of New York, Mondami, and for those who don't know, I live in New York, and I happily voted for him, happily ranked him. I didn't rank Cuomo, but Chuck Schumer was giving another one of his underwhelming speeches, sounding the alarm about the big beautiful bill, because the Republicans are trying to ram it through. According to Chuck Schumer, they're trying to do it over the weekend now. The only thing that the big beautiful bill delivers, of course, is more needless death. That's one thing we can guarantee whenever Republicans get their greed-centered clutches around the neck of power. And what's so sad, too, let me see if I can find it here. I got it, and we talk about it all the time. That's why, thank you for your patronage, thank you for your support, and supporting the Political Voices Network, and this show, and the Tara Show, and all that, and the independent liberal media, because we have a lot of work to do, and our work is cut out for us. And I just want to show you this tweet. Just keeping track of the time for when Judy calls. Hold on. All right, here it is. Look at this. This is the thing I was talking about. Schumer. Come on, Schumer.
Be absolutely clear. This bill is deeply flawed.
Don't you feel
It's
the
devastating
passion?
For American families. It rips health care from 16 million people. It has the biggest cuts to food funding ever, losing over 2 million jobs, and that might go up.
You feel the
burn?
burn?
They may change make
wrong
worse the clean energy
screen
provisions,
here.
even worse.
Oh, well, Judy's on here
Biggest
yet.
cuts to food funding ever. And instead of fixing the egregious provisions of the bill, they're trying to jam it through. They don't want the American people to find out what's in it. The more and more that Americans look at the bill, the less they like it. The more they despise it.
It's really bad.
Quinnipiac said, here are the polling data. Quinnipiac, 53% against, only 27% support.
You feel the passion?
Fox News, 59 against, 38% support.
Don't you feel inspired?
Kaiser Family
Right.
Foundation,
Fight,
64%
fight.
against, only 35% support.
We will win.
And you'll notice in these numbers, the American people are learning more and more about this bill, I think in good part because of the action that Senate Dems have taken. We have been relentless in letting people know how bad it is. And now they know. Of course Americans hate this bill. It steals their Medicaid. It jacks up their premiums. It takes away their jobs and gives trillions away to billionaires and special interests. So, of course, Republicans are scrambling and rushing. They know their bill is terrible. They don't want the American people to see what's in it.
Amazing.
Republican leaders probably don't even want their members to know what's in the bill, or else it'll never get done.
You know, this is why they
There's
laugh
no good reason
at Democrats.
for
They laugh
Republicans
at us.
to
They
chase
knew
a silly deadline.
before
None.
when they're...
Even Donald Trump 2 hours
hold
ago
on, let me
admitted
shut
the
this
July
guy up.
4th deadline's a fake, and yet here they are, rushing to meet.
When he capitulated to the debt ceiling bill, one of their really offensive maggots, I know they're all pretty offensive, but he said, we're not worried at all. Chuck Schumer will cave, and he laughed. And he was right. it's all performance. You know, we talk about the Republicans and their performance, but what is this? Do you feel the passion here? I mean, these are people, what's so disappointing but not unexpected is that they haven't even congratulated Mondani yet at all. And I think that Kristen Gillibrand said something that he was anti-Semitic, something like that, which is bullshit. And to conflate anyone who has a different policy than Benjamin Netanyahu with being anti-Semitic is absolutely ridiculous. But they won't stop doing it, because what else do they have to justify their genocide, their illegal wars, their crimes against humanity? I mean, the establishment Dems, they, instead of, just bashing Mondani, they should see, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing, how am I, Mamdani, yeah, I'm saying it right. They should see the writing on the wall, right? What is so outrageous about his platform? And this is what I keep hearing on media, listening to Tom Hartman's show and corporate media. And of course, the Republicans are screaming and crying and pissing and moaning and vomiting that he's a commie. And they're going right out with the he's a Muslim thing, as if they go right for the bigotry and xenophobia. Because, as I said, Republicans don't ever bring light to a situation. They don't bring understanding. They don't know. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. That's for sure. We just witnessed yet again the corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court giving traitor Trump more power and causing more chaos and confusion all around the country. That's all they do. They don't bring anything to the table but selfishness, greed, self-centered, anything that will make it easier for them to ride the rest of us to the bank. So in their worldview, the system, make no mistake, the system they're dragging us back to is the one that the founders fought a revolution to overthrow. Period. And that's what the Democrats need to start saying. They're not just rolling back the New Deal, and that may be true, but in order to roll back the New Deal, when you roll back the American Revolution, you will roll back the New Deal. They're rolling back the Progressive Era. They're rolling back whatever was left of Reconstruction. That's what they're doing. And how dare the corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court do that? Because the only consistency they have is in their inconsistency with their rulings. What's his name? Kavanaugh wrote recently in a ruling that the courts should defer to big oil, because they have the expertise. When an earlier ruling that Uncle Thomas, I think he wrote the majority opinion, said that, oh no, it's the Chevron deference that they overturned, except when it fits their, when they could fix the facts around the policies. So they really don't have any shame in their destruction of the Constitution, and that's all they're there for. Just like back when the Republicans weren't completely full-on fascist, but were heading there. I remember talking about this, that the Supreme Court, all they're there to do is fix the facts around the policy. They'll just cherry pick and figure out how to justify the unjustifiable. So it's in the Constitution, birthright citizenship, so they just allowed a baboon who has no respect for the Constitution, they have no decency. They are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. And, we're just supposed to be cool with that because they fix the facts around the policy. And this Chuck Schumer, he's the guy that's going to save us. He's the Democratic leader. Yeah, but he's certainly not the man for the moment. So I saw this underneath the, Chuck Schumer's underwhelming speech. And here's a con writing, a Trump NZ. Chuck Schumer lecturing anyone on backbone is like a weather vane preaching about standing firm in the wind. Republicans aren't rushing. They're just not playing stall and obstruct games anymore. Obviously, this is a maggot. The only disaster Democrats see is losing control over the spending spigot that's been flooding the country with inflation, debt, and government dependency. Well, fuck you. Because here's the do your own research crowd not doing their own research, as usual, right? Don't expect them to either. Wait, hold on, I have a list here. Because, the only thing that this bill, this big, beautiful monstrosity of hating America does, and tearing down America, all it does is cause more needless death. Okay, Medicaid cuts, deep cuts to Medicaid. And when Judy calls in, this is who is paying for elderly family members in these facilities? It's Medicaid. It's the primary health insurer for low-income Americans, children, seniors, and people with disabilities. But these cuts would lead to more than 10 million Americans losing their coverage. But what do they care? That's government dependency. And when someone proposes doing something for the people, promoting the general welfare over the welfare of Elon Musk, that's government dependency. They never complain, though, about Elon Musk, his billions in government subsidies, right? That's we the people gave him that. We don't need him. We did rather well sending people to the moon. We did it for less, with a lot less damage. He had 4 rockets explode this year alone. Oh, but he don't give a shit. But this is what we're talking about. Where are these people getting this information? And of course, whenever it affects them, of course, they will cry like stuck pigs. So there's a comprehensive study by Yale and the University of Pennsylvania that the bill's provision would result in over 51,000 additional preventable deaths annually. And that's on top of the 35,000 needless deaths that we already have, thanks to the for-profit health insurance racket. It's unreal. But I don't know how Chuck Schumer doesn't seem to be that passionate about it. Maybe because he doesn't really feel the sting of the lash of these policies. People will have fewer access to preventable care, regular checkups, treatment for chronic diseases. It will eliminate recently established minimum staffing standards in nursing homes. And what will that mean? That will mean your elderly parents, your loved ones, will be neglected in nursing homes. Because what the fuck? They should just die. They're useless eaters. Elon Musk needs that money to blow up another rocket. It will also weaken or eliminate occupational health and safety protections, increasing workplace injuries and deaths. I mean, anything that hurts the American people. That's what you call, I guess, in a Republican world, you call that freedom. See, you're supposed to just pay your taxes and get nothing back but the right for a king to start an illegal war based on nothing. Just like he ran for the presidency to escape the consequences for his life of crime, now he bombed Iran because people were asking about the Epstein files that he's all over. Cuts to Medicaid and social services that are not linked will only worsen health outcomes, but also result in higher rates. Social instability as basic needs go unmet. See, we have to live in the consequence. We have to live in the society that they create. right? They're in the gated communities.
Yeah, the only thing they're playing, they're not playing stall and obstruct games anymore.
Where are you hearing this? But as you notice, they don't have any examples of how this is going to be such a boon for the American people. It's just taking them at their word. You know, the do your own research crowd. They've done their own research, and I guess they're cool with more needless death. They don't care. If it comes to them, when they feel it, that's when they'll cry and say, "Oh, boo hoo! I should have." Right? It's the only thing that matters to them. Selfishness. Okay, hold on a second. This is Tara Devlin. I will be right back. All right, where are we? Where are we? I'm waiting for Judy to call in, but is she supposed to call in now? I don't know. I'm asking the air. It's all good. All right. Anyway, back to what we're talking about until Judy gets here. But we'll be talking about that too when Judy gets here. So let's see. Oh, hold on a second. Yes, so the big beautiful bill, it is beautiful in their eyes, I suppose, because anything that causes pain, division, suffering, needless death, they find that pretty beautiful, I suppose. But let the sting of the lash, let's a little rain fall on their shoulders and watch how they whine and moan about, oh, everybody's so unfair, everybody's picking on me. These are very damaged people, guys. I hate to tell you. And I wish I was wrong, but it really does suck to be right. I wish that they were right. They're just not, there's something not normal about them. And this is a project that's been long in the making. The way that they've undermined education, the way that they have cut the general welfare off at the knees. Really, we didn't get here overnight. You know, when Reagan made the University of California, used to be free, young people could go to school without having to get out, graduate as an indentured servant to banksters, and they changed that. Now, if we want to help young people get established, we want to make sure that they can have their lives, get their lives in order and not have to have this albatross of debt to a bank around their neck for their entire lives, then that's too much. That's a bridge too far for Republicans. But cutting everything, cutting off veterans assistance, Social Security, they're coming for it all. And it's absolutely an abomination. I don't know. Sometimes it's really baffling to me. I wonder, I ask it all the time, how much longer are we going to take it? The fact that we have to listen to this ignorant, incurious baboon who just starts wars because, he wants to distract from his life of crime. And everybody just goes along with it. And now this corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court, how much longer are we going to take it? And that's the other thing with the Democrats. There is a messaging game to be played here that they suck at, as we know. And I always encourage them to listen to my show, listen to this show, listen to the Tara Show with myself and Tara Dublin every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. at the Political Voices Network, because we are trying to help the Democratic Party grow a spine and take our messaging. It's, you don't have to use the F word. I just do that because it's a late night show, and I got issues. It's good for my stress. Sometimes there's only one word that you can say. And, when they talk about the Supreme Court, they have to say, what they should say is the corrupt and illegitimate Supreme Court. You have to preface it. You have to put that qualifier in there. Just like when they say red state, they have to say poorly run red state, poorly run red state. It's repetition that will win the game. That's what they do on Fox News. You would think that they might have learned something over time, but unfortunately, I don't think so. Now I have to look at my email. I'm wondering myself if Judy is calling it at 9:30. I gotta look at my email. Oh, brother. I think maybe. I hate when this happens, you know what I mean? It's fine. No, it's not like we don't have things to talk about. I'm just checking my email. Nope. Everybody's good. All right, let's see. All right. So, yes, the big, beautiful bill is projected to cause tens of thousands of preventable death each year, stripping health coverage from millions, slashing safety net programs, rolling back critical health and safety protections. The burden will fall hardest on the poor, the elderly, people of color in rural communities, of course. And, of course, Maggotville communities. That's the irony. And then I'm sure we'll hear them crying and whining. It's pretty disgusting. And one thing I wrote about the other day for the Political Voices Network is that I finally agree with Trader Trump on one thing. I don't know if you saw one of his tripes. Hey, paid episode. I made that episode. What are they talking about? Oh, I know what's happening. It's because it's on Safari and I'm not signed in. Hold on a sec. It's tough being a one-man band sometimes. That's okay. Jim's in the chat room. He keeps us going and growing. All right. So this is from the Political Voices Network article I wrote. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the greatest president of all? And the reason, and I finally agree with Trump because he tweeted or triped or vomited, whatever you do on Vomit Social, that, here it is. What Biden did to this country should never be forgotten. I agree. For one thing, for one time. And I never thought I would get to this point where I'm saying I agree with the con man who sent a mob of traitors to storm the Capitol, stop the peaceful transfer of power. But yeah, what Biden did for this country should never be forgotten. Well, he said four. He didn't punish people who didn't vote for him. He invested in them. And that's what gets me so irritated, that the Republicans in these poorly run red states, they don't even have the decency, the dignity, the maturity to say thanks, Democrats. And whose fault is that, though? It really is the Democratic Party's fault, because they're not getting the message out. That's one thing that I hear from you guys all the time whenever I'm talking to normal people that don't do this for a living but are politically engaged. They are frustrated with the Democratic Party's messaging. You know, they do all these good things for the American people, but the American people don't seem to know it. They think that, I guess, a middle class came because some billionaires felt like trickling it on us. That's what they think. And that was back when in the Great Prosperity that my father grew up in the Great Prosperity after World War II, where FDR's New Deal policies built the middle class from the ground up. Republicans don't even know that there was a time in American history called the Great Prosperity where the American people, the working class, they were paid living wages, retirement security, 35% unionization, where the CEO was only 50 times, paid 50 times higher than the lowest paid worker. And they think that, that just came because they had bootstraps or something. And into that, I guess, see, this is what I think about when I think about Rush Limbaugh, because he was one of the first cancerous outgrowths of the Telecommunications Act of 96, where because of him, he started to promote this, the divide and conquer, the racist divide and conquer strategy, where the white working class saw that, well, hey, anybody can do it. I did it. My father was a garbage man, New York City sanitation worker, and was able to buy a house, go on vacation, buy a car every couple of years, enjoy his life, raise 3 kids, pay off his house, go to, vacation every now and then, and retire in dignity and security because of the union job that he had. But still, those Republican donor envelopes kept coming to the house. And whenever I got in the car with him, he was listening to Rush Limbaugh. And he and I used to get into it. This is when I was first becoming politically aware. I didn't understand at first because I didn't get it when I saw America Under Attack. Oh, no, America Under Siege. That was what he had on his show. Like, under siege from what? Hold on. Right? Under siege from what? The president? What's the president doing? That's under siege. Well, I guess he was balancing the budget. He was trying to make sure that people didn't needlessly die without health care. Now, I'm not a big fan of Bill Clinton. I certainly wasn't when he was in the White House. He was certainly a lot better than what we would have had with a Republican. But he wasn't, my dream president. And he signed the Telecommunications Act of 96, which gave us Rush Limbaugh on Fox News. And that's where we can trace this divided country back to that, that event. And they knew. Uh-oh, who's calling me? I just got a phone call. Is it? Oh, Judy. Let me see what's going on here. Judy.
Is this Tara?
Yeah, what's up, Judy? You didn't get the link?
I have the link. I'm waiting for you. It says waiting for host.
Huh. It's not ringing.
What's not ringing?
My interview thing.
It says waiting for host. It says the Tara Show.
Oh, it's the wrong one. Oh, okay. No, you're fine. You're fine. Can you hang up and call in again? Let me, because I don't see it.
Do you want me to call or to...
No, I'm talking to you on the phone. You have to, in order to be on the show, you have to use that link. So,
okay, the one that Lorna gave me.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. No, it's not you. It's yeah. I'm not saying it's your problem. It's probably me. So.
Okay. Okay, I'll get.
Yeah. Call him and why don't you stay on the line here? Stay on the line.
Okay.
And then call.
I'll get back.
See, it's fine. The show's on now, and so people know what's going on. Here we go. Run, ringy dingy. All right, hold on. I'm hanging up. Yes. All right. 1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy dingy. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second, Judy. All right, everybody. Main scene. All right, here we go. And now I'm going to... All right, yay, finally.
So,
Hey, it is what it is. We do it
we're good.
anyway. This is how, we do the show. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we do it anyway. So, nice to meet you, Judy. How
I'm
are
happy
you?
to meet you.
And I'm sorry for the frustration.
You might have my name spelled incorrectly.
I do? Let me
Yes, you
see.
do. Let's drop the first S. It's Karo.
Oh, okay. There we go.
S-K-Y.
Is that correct? Karos?
No S there. Karof. Drop the first S.
Karof.
S-K-Y.
Is that right?
No, now drop
All right, hold on.
Now drop the F after the
You
S.
see? This is how you break down the fourth wall. Okay, hold on. I thought I did that right. Oh, Jesus Christ, now it's small.
There's too many F's in it. Karo. Now still take out the first S, please.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I copied it from your, from the PDF.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless Lorna had it spelled
Maybe,
incorrect.
I don't know.
Yeah. But it's still
Yes.
incorrect. And if it's not correct, I'm not searched.
Is that right? K-A-R-O.
You got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I copied it. Yeah, that's weird. All right,
okay.
whatever. I'm sorry,
Nice
Judy.
to
Not
meet
a great introduction, but
No, we're doing fine.
forgive me. I'm
I
only
did.
human. All right, I know. So Judy, nice to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show and for, the frustration that came with it. I appreciate it, but I'm sure it's not as frustrating of what you went through with your mother in the book, right? So
That's a decent analogy. Good.
So tell me why. So you know what's so not funny, but kismet is when I started the show and I was telling people that you were coming on the show. One of our chat room members said that they had just bought your book, and that's amazing. I thought that was great.
And where is that chat? Do you know where
Let's
that
see.
person is?
Yeah, she's in the chat room. Josie just right? Is it Josie who bought the book? She'll chat again. I think it was Josie.
Ask her to say where she is. That would be good for my
Oh,
map,
okay.
which I don't have.
She'll chat.
So-
She'll chat in a second. So we're like 10 seconds. They're behind about 10 seconds. So yes. So what happened? Why did you write this book, Judy?
Why did I write?
Yes. Big question.
This is my first book, you know that, or as I like to quip, it's also my last book. But I am an only child. My mother had retired to Florida after a full life and career with my dad. After my dad died, she lived a pretty active single existence, dating and partnering.
Good for her.
And of course, and then she moved to my city after she was not well in Florida, and it just became apparent that we had to make some plans for the next few years. So she moved to my city. My mother, as you may know, or the person who bought the book knows, was engaging. She was fun. She liked to dress up. She liked to buy shoes. She took part in community. She actually was a stand-up comic in her retirement years, and she did to have a routine that she did both in Florida and in my little town. On Thursday nights, she'd go to a piano bar, and at intermission, she'd perform.
Wow.
So people got to know her fairly well. She also became a member of the Jewish community because that's what was here, and she maintained that. And also because it was so engaging and helpful for her. So pretty full life for her age, and then she had a stroke. And after she had a stroke, we had to make some other plans for her because she could no longer live in her independent situation. So she moved to an assisted living facility. And Tara, I had been keeping notes about her because she was so much fun. Sometimes I wrote down her jokes or the funny things we did. The little we actually took some trips together. We went to the East Coast together. She came on a couple of business trips with me. So before I knew it, I had a lot of pages. But then the topics started to change. I started to keep track instead of jokes, the things that weren't so funny, the care she was receiving, the problems that we had. And lest I forget some of the situations, I took notes. Then as time went on and I was spending more and more quiet time with her because she was sleeping long hours, but I was still visiting with her, I wrote some more and I wrote some more and I wrote some more. And then, I mean, it's kind of a story, a maxim. People say if you're writing a lot, you should write a book.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I could maybe write a book. And that's sort of how it happened. I had no intention of doing it when I started. It somehow along the way, it morphed from a story of my mom, collection of stories, to a memoir, to a policy-driven memoir. Because I was writing about my mom in an industry that I knew and understood, or thought I understood. It's my professional background, real estate investment, real estate development, just investments. And I have a degree in business, a graduate degree in business. And I had done a white paper along the line about institutional investing in senior housing. And there I was in that industry, being affected by it. And so I wrote more about the industry. And as the person who just bought the book will find out,
Yes.
I also wrote about hospice, because hospice came aboard after a certain number of months when my mom was in assisted living after she broke her hip. Not only did she have a stroke, but then she broke her hip, so she was confined to a wheelchair. So we had hospice help, and I learned a lot about hospice. I learned what it wasn't.
Right.
It was
And
different.
what was it? It wasn't.
Well, someone said to me recently, hospice is a promise. And it is. And that's how we think of it, that hospice will accompany the family, the grieving relatives, and the person who's dying, losing
Right.
days. And that is what we believe. And I actually could have probably thought it was a charity. There's so many donations that go to hospice, but it really isn't charity. Hospice itself is a business. Hospice, it does have a lot of support from donations, and I see it, and I'm sure you do it too. Fundraisers, events,
Yes.
people at the time of a memorial asking for donations to a local hospice, all of which is good, all of which means that people are being given the promise of hospice. But it is a business. It's actually supported by Medicare.
Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah. Wait, hold
Oh.
on, Judy. We'll be right
I
back.
will.
You hear the music there? You hear that?
Do.
Oh, okay, good. We'll be right back with Judy Karofsky. All right. We have music there because I cut the show up for the Progressive Voices Network. It plays on Sunday, and they have commercials in between. So there you go. Okay. So when you hear the music, just
We can jam.
Yeah, exactly.
My mother would. She'd be dancing.
Aw. So how long was your mom in assisted living and then hospice?
Actually, she was in assisted living 4.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she was in hospice 3.5 years. But the sad, unfortunate thing that happened to my mom, and does happen along the way, was that when she was 99 and a half, in the fall of 2017, hospice stopped serving her. They basically said she's not dying soon enough. It wasn't that crash, but because hospice is supported by reimbursements from Medicare, these are Medicare rules, that hospice is available to someone who's determined somehow, I don't know how people make that determination, but a hospice doctor does it, that person will have only 6 months to live. So there she was at 99 and a half, not really dying from
she had the life force,
a malady.
The will to live, really, right?
A will to live. She really did. And fortunately for me, she did not go out from Alzheimer's. I mean, I watched so many, and we all know so many, that wasn't happening to her. So she did recognize me on a daily basis.
That's great.
I'd come in to visit her, and she'd say, half kidding, "How did you know I was here?" And she knew my dog, and she knew my kids when they visited. And so that spurred me on, certainly spurred her on to enjoy her days, want to have one more day, one more day, one more day. Eventually, hospice did rejoin her or allow her to rejoin, but by then there was just a month to her life, and it was the end was not pleasant at all. And no end is pleasant, but the end was not the promise. It was. She died without hospice in attendance.
Oh, really?
They just didn't. Oh. And she also died. Spoiler alert here! It was a spoiler. She died without morphine. There was no morphine available to her. So I watched my mom struggle.
Boy!
In her last hours.
Isn't that the point, though, of hospice, to make your transition a little less painful or traumatic on everyone, right?
For everyone. You just said it, yeah, for everyone. That just did not happen in our case. And I'm not alone in that. When I do engage in conversations, or people engage in conversations with me, I hear similar stories. I hear the stories of people who not only dropped from hospice as my mom was, but if they're in a facility, be sent home from the facility to die at home, just without the planning, the expectation that some people do have, the Atul Gawande model of people who die at home, and that's quite understandable and quite honorable for those families that can do that. But some, again, are sent back from the hospice facility for various reasons.
So anyone on the chat, you can chat a question and we'll ask Judy. And I know maybe Josie said that her father is in assisted living right now, and that's why she bought your book. And yeah. But so what was your experience with the financial side, which is probably the
it's huge.
The main
the money just kept going to the facilities. It starts maybe at 5,000, can go up to 10 to 12 to 20 a month, and some of that. I mean, it's really rent to a facility. That's what it is. This is real estate plays. Somebody in your position interviewing me said within the month said it's kind of like a hotel. And I said, yeah, it is. It's like hospitality with certain advantages. Meals are planned for you. There will be someone around to help. Should be if you need to get out of bed or walk to the dining room. But assisted living is not a health facility. It's long-term care, but it's not a health facility. In the state of Wisconsin, there's a maximum of the amount of nursing care that a resident of an assisted living can receive every week, and that's 3 hours. So they're not there to help.
Doesn't seem like a lot. Yeah, because wouldn't every patient or every resident have different needs? You can't have to just say 3 hours and you're done.
And my mom, who loved them all, and they loved her, and she loved to chat up the nurses. She could find reasons to have a bandage changed, and loved the attention from the caregiving staff. So that's part of the issue. One chapter that I develop in the book I call bait and switch, because Tara, there are so many come-ons. There are so many ads. There are so many. There's so much advertising directed to the decision makers, the next generation, and who would not want to spend a little bit more, perhaps, or to find the facility that has promises of activities and meals and trips, and it just they don't happen. They just don't on a daily basis. The promises in the advertising, the promises and the postcards that I receive all the time, because I'm of age now, for sure.
Yeah.
But they just don't have.
Yeah, I've been getting mailings for making my final wishes, or do your pre-planning now. You don't want them to put you in a potter's field. No, I'm just kidding. But
then what else? What else can you do? My mom was in a hotel. She was in a hospital. She liked hotels, but she was in a hospital. She had just she had a stroke, and in the week after, while she was in a stroke rehab unit where they taught her how to use utensils again, how to feed herself, how to walk. And she learned all those things. It became clear she could not return to her independent living situation, which was quite near my house. That long-term care complex was near my house. And they wanted us out of the hospital. Social workers came to visit, and they had a short list of places that she could perhaps move to. Well, one of them was the assisted living wing of the very long-term care complex she was already in. And as I just said, near my house, convenient, and there was availability. That's often the question. Well, is there room for her? And there was. And that was the beginning of a very different kind of admissions process, because I became aware, if not at that juncture, at others, as she moved on to different facilities. One of the main reasons, one of the main tests, criteria for admission is financial capability.
Right.
They wanted to see her tax returns. They wanted to see a bank statement if we could produce it. That was as important as a health report, because they're all similarly healthy or losing their health. So that was quite offensive, actually, and a reality check for me that that's what was going on. Wow. So how do people pay for them? Tara, this is all private pay. So how do they pay? Payment comes from retirement accounts, should they exist. Social Security hopefully exists. Pension plans, kind of, I sometimes refer to it as the three-legged stool. For those who have that, they know you have it. They're going to claim high rents, and the rents.
No, you can.
We're dancing?
Yeah, hold on. Yes, we're dancing. Hold on, we'll be right back. Judy Karofsky, author of DisElderly Conduct. All right, we're back. See, it's very quick. So, yeah, I'm sorry the music is the necessary evil for cutting the show up for aggressive voices. But as you were saying, we were talking about the cost of this, that people, that they're coming for you, they're coming for your pension, your Social Security, your home even, I'm sure, the home as well.
There's your equity, sure, if you sell your home,
Yeah, my father had Alzheimer's, and he was in an assisted living. Yeah, it was, well, he needed 24-hour care. He was at my sister's for a little bit, and then it was just too much because he was wandering at night, and she'd find him in the garage with a power tool, and, you can't have that. And it was hard on my sister, and so, but he ended up breaking his hip, too. That's what happened in the end. But he was there for a couple of years. But it was Medicare that paid for it. He had a good. I didn't deal with the financial aspect. So that's what I'm wondering about the.
Potentially Medicaid, but I'm not. I was not in your situation, but close to your family, because Medicare will support the hospice portion in an indirect way. They don't send you the money to hire hospice, but once you're in hospice, Medicare sets the rules and the reimbursements.
Right.
People who are in skilled nursing homes, Medicaid, as long as we have Medicaid in this country, and I don't mean to say it lightly. They're coming for all of us. And
that's what's so depressing too, because this really is about the dignity of human life, and don't we owe it to our parents and grandparents it's about who we are, what kind of a society we are. To just boil it down to money, and you're on your own.
Profiteering is a word that somebody used with me. It's taking advantage of people who are in stressful situations, needing to make quick decisions, and just not making good choices, not able to really differentiate between the choices.
You're at the worst, one of the worst times of your life, and here they come. It
is the worst, yeah. And one of the things I also I covered not quite as in a lengthy way in the book, but referred to many times, is the staffing issue, because the caregivers are all people of good heart who really want to help, and they are not trained, they're not well enough, they're not paid enough, they don't have benefits, they're not organized. And I read an article today about it's always been a crisis, but the state of Wisconsin, which is my state I live in and my mom was in, how dire the need will be in the next couple of years for people to work in assisted living,
and
to be trained, and they leave the country, and that's what's happening.
Well, that's it. We were just talking about this before you came on the show, about in this big, beautiful monstrosity, the big vomitous bill. They will, part of the cuts are cuts to staffing in nursing homes that are already struggling with staffing issues. So that will lead to more neglect and endangering the lives and the frail lives of elderly patients. And
or the closing of those nursing homes.
Right.
That's what
it's unconscionable. And the overcrowding would happen. It's just it's so repugnant as a moral issue that everything is boiled down to, the haves and the have-nots, as always. And, right, like you're saying, the profiteering, even to these, the end-of-life care. It's, it really does say a lot about who we are as a people. And I think we should do better. But as you were writing this book, I know it's very... Right.
Well, here are my 3 ideas.
Yes.
It's really one thing I that happened in the writing is it evolved from sharing stories, experiences, which was very helpful to me and to the people who were sharing, to the realization that I was not writing a memoir. I was writing a policy-driven memoir. It was actually aiming toward some changes, so that the target for the discussion became the policymakers, the people who have the responsibility, the ability and the responsibility to make change, which pretty much means our federal representatives. I haven't articulated this perfectly, in this discussion with you, but Tara, there are no federal regulations over assisted living. None. Wow. There's barely a federal definition of assisted living.
Shocking, but not unexpected.
And any regulation, any oversight is state by state, and they vary, and some of them aren't very strong. And as I said, in my state, 3 hours of health care or nursing care is the max per week. So from discussion to trying to see how we could mold the discussion so that we make an impact on the policymakers who could maybe regulate care, safety, attention, what we were just talking about, the staffing, the financing. Financing, for the most part now, is corporate, private equity, REITs, real estate investment trusts. Wow. So the money that's coming in is not local, and the decision making is remote. And I suffered from that many nights. My mom would fall out of bed, and the call I received, living in central Wisconsin, came from northern Minnesota, and I mean northern. That's where the person was who was answering the phone for the facilities in that 2 or 3 state area. And I was only one person receiving that kind of. I wonder if there's a word called disattention. We were getting disattention in the middle of the night. Misattention. Right. So then, as we know, and we just hate to even talk about it, we have to. The world changed. The world changed in November. Our world changed. Politics changed. The economy changed. But it's in some ways, it became more important to have this kind of discussion. And I'm so grateful to you for the ability bring the topic to your audience.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you, Judy, for being here. Yeah.
And we have to, it's a call to action. We really do have to act. We really do have to say something like, I'm not going there. This is not how it's going to be anymore. Something has to change here.
Right.
And as I said a couple of days ago, because I just read a history, one of the U.S. history books, the Zinn book, everything that has happened in American history, every big change, has started with a petition, a signing of some document, and then a huge demonstration. And we're having the demonstrations.
Yes.
And we could make that plea that I think you were defining. How do we recognize the need to not leave people struggling in their last years? And you are so right. Civilizations could be judged on how they treat their elderly, and some are, but
that's
not
true.
ours. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what the common saying is: a budget is a moral document, and if you read the big beautiful bill and you look at the Republican budgets, they're incredibly immoral, and there's no way to get around it.
It's callous, it's not caring,
to just
and
enrich
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost it's shocking, but not unexpected. That's the way I feel. I'm like, wow, they did that too. It's just the bottom keeps getting lower. The trap door opens. The lines keep getting crossed. And I guess one of the things that gives me a little bit of hope when I'm in a hopeful mood is that it's always darkest before the dawn, and that kind of thing. That when out of the Great Depression came the New Deal and things like that, and out of the first Gilded Age came the Progressive Era, and so I'm hoping that there will be a pendulum swing back where we will be able to. One of the things I talk about on the show all the time is, what is the meaning of an economy? What is the meaning of life? Is it to make the rich richer, or is it to ensure that we can all have a decent life for this blip of time that we're here? And that includes, from cradle to grave. And it is shocking. It is immoral the way that that we treat people in their most vulnerable circumstances. It's really it's an abomination. That's why I wish the Republicans, I always say, I wish they were as Christian as they purport to be, because we wouldn't be having this conversation. They're always talking about, how they love Jesus. All right, don't tell me, show me. Not that, Hold on a second. We'll be right back with Judy Karofsky, author of DisElderly Conduct. So, yes, Judy.
Let's subtitle it. Of course, the book is called, it's titled DisElderly Conduct.
Oh, did I say disorderly conduct?
If you did, it's common. Just so people.
Yeah,
I don't think you did. It's a clever title that we're kind of proud of.
No, it's good. It's a good one.
Thank you. But the subtitle is "The Flawed Business of Assisted Living and Hospice."
Right.
So
which sums it up.
Yeah, but.
I mean, it must have been hard going through this experience as an only child, too. I'm lucky enough to have a brother and a sister to lean on during that time. And, you're the call that has to pick up. There's no, you're the one.
The call I received at 2 a.m. one night that said that my mother had died, the person on the phone said, "I'm sorry to be the one to have to tell you this." And she hadn't. Oh. She hadn't. It was a call from a hospice nurse who 5 minutes later, as I was wandering from my bed trying to figure out, I have trouble with this in the middle of the night. One of my kids lives in the Eastern time zone and one lives in the mountain. And I'm like, which one am I going to call at 2 a.m? And I have the phone record, so I know that 5 minutes later, I received the call, the same voice saying, "I'm sorry, I had the wrong file."
Oh, wow. Guess she felt bad.
Sure.
Wow.
And it was a big wow, although for me, it set me up from that moment on. And that was one of her first months really in hospice, to just be on alert, to be present.
The stress.
And as an only child, it felt to me Fortunately, most of the facilities my mother was in were close enough so I could get there. Except there is winter where I live, so there are a lot of nights that I was pretty scared coming home alone on icy roads. But I had friends who stayed on the phone with me as I made those trips, and I thanked them in the acknowledgments to the book. But I didn't have to argue with anybody, did I? I mean, at least
Yeah, that's
the
true.
decision making fell to me, but I didn't have to be
Right.
in
It
the.
could get a little stressful. It is
Yeah,
true. My sister and brother
one of
and
the
I
blessings of being.
yeah, we had a few rows there. That's true. But I do have a question from Josie, who bought your book,
Good.
and she asked, "What should we look for in choosing an assisted living facility?" What do you think?
Yeah, right. I mean, there are lists that are put out by the state divisions of health, however they're termed. They all pretty much say the same thing. Ask other people, have a meal there.
Right.
People, but who has time? I mean, most of these decisions are made in crisis. These are crisis
Yeah, that's
decisions.
true.
So I couldn't, only child, could not watch my mom going through her stroke rehab and go tool around the county and look for. And how would I know what was a better facility? Proximities almost always wins because that does make it easier for
Right.
the child or loved one caregiver. Availability, I mean, that rises to the top so quickly
That's
because
true.
you need to make a move quickly, and if there's no available rooms, well, you just can't do it. Reputation, there's not much of there isn't any federal log of quality stars. There's no star system, which there is for nursing homes.
Uh,
Nursing homes, skilled nursing
right.
care, 24 hours, a whole different kind of care model for people who need that kind of care. There actually is like a 5-star system. I didn't just make that up. So you can, if you trust it,
Right.
I don't
And
want to
I
get
guess
into that.
it
They
comes
have it.
down to, like you're saying, proximity and if they have available beds. You might not have the
And,
time to shop around. It's not that
and
kind of, yeah.
reputation. I felt, I think when my mom moved to her third facility, because someone said, hey, you know that this person who I knew and respected in the community, that her mother had just moved to that facility. And I made that absolutely irrational decision based on, oh, if she did that, then I should do that too. It's sort of a fear of missing out, right? If her mom was there, it would be good for my mom, and it varies for everybody. So Josie, I would go through all those exercises so that when things start to get
Right.
uncomfortable, you don't have the feeling that you didn't do the research. But trust me, it's really difficult to do that kind of research under duress. This is not making a decision to move to independent living, which just kind of happens gently. Hey, mom or dad or loved one, um, why don't we go see this wonderful place or go see what the activities are like and the pretty gardens and look at a few. Moving to independent living is a more gradual kind of decision making process.
Right.
Assisted living.
Are you aware of how these facilities are in other countries, or have you done any
I've
research in that?
of course, and it's and people always bring me examples, and what they want to articulate is the intergenerational nature in many foreign countries. And we can all read those articles, and I have too. That we're not doing that. We are isolating our older people, the people who are residents of these facilities. Sometimes, yes, sometimes. I've also read about in this country, the assisted living is near the daycare, and everybody benefits. And that's kind of the idea. We have a co-housing model in Madison, and I'm sure there are others around the country, intergenerational housing. But there's so few, and it's not the model that we're talking about. Tara, right now in this country, there are over 30,000 assisted living facilities. They're different. Some are smaller, some are bigger, some are part of a long-term care complex, some are freestanding, but that's how many there are. over 1 million people are now residents of them.
Right.
And that will just grow because the baby boomers are
Yep.
just now starting to move into them, to age into them.
What a perfect time to cut Medicare and Medicaid, right?
What a perfect time to go into the business. You could make a lot of money.
True.
Don't
Yeah. Don't give Donald Trump any more ideas, please. Any more bad ideas. So.
But you're right. That's very hopeful that things look dark until they brighten up again, and something could happen. And if I can generate that kind of discussion,
right, that's what I'm hoping
among the people. We are all hoping. Started with discussing with my colleagues, my co-adult children colleagues, to thinking that we could make the pitch to policymakers. And because of the kind of active political life I've led in this state, I know those people. I know a lot of the people, and I can tell you that my very own congressman has a story about how it was for his mom when she was in a facility.
Who's your congressman?
They're a little busy. They're a little busy right now, but they shouldn't be too busy for this.
Who is your representative?
I'm in the 2nd Congressional District in Wisconsin, and my representative is a good friend of mine. His name is Mark Pocan, P-O-C-A-N.
He's wonderful. I know all about. He calls into Tom Hartman's show. He has.
He does. He's a magician in his free time.
He's great. Yeah, he's wonderful.
He is. He's more than great. And I'm in touch with. I've been in touch with his staff since the book was still a manuscript, actually.
Right. And well, the thing that I am hoping is that we finally have that conversation, that we win the conversation, that, the meaning of life, the meaning of an economy is not to make Elon Musk richer and give him more billions to blow up rockets, but to take care of each other. I mean, what else is there in this life? Why even have a country? Why have a government? Just to give money so they can funnel it to the top? I think we could do a lot better, that's for sure. Healthcare, from cradle to grave, assisted living and hospice that is worth our human dignity. I don't know. I hope I live to see it. Or
this is not the place or the time for corporate greed. This is the time for humanitarian caring.
That's right.
I think you said that. I know you've said it in several different ways.
No, you're absolutely right. I just think that it's that people at the end of this horrible time, I think that we're getting to the point where people are just sick of it, sick of the greed, sick of the selfishness. But I might be wrong, but I hope not, because what really gets me depressed is that millions of people did vote for Donald Trump, but I don't know. We have a lot of work to do. That's all that says. Thank you, Judy, for hanging out. That's the end of the show, the Progressive Voices part of the show. Thank you for your time, Judy. And please pick up your book, DisElderly Conduct. What's the subhead?
The Flawed Business of Assisted Living and Hospice. And Tara, thank you for bringing this to your audience tonight. It means so much to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Judy. We will win. I will see you soon. All right, Judy. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to hang up, all right? I'll talk to you later.
Too bad I could be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. See you soon. All right, guys. That was Judy Karofsky. I'm sorry I spelled her name wrong. Damn. Oh, well, it is what it is, right? Judy was great. That's what we have to do. We got to get the message out. We got to talk about our experiences, and hopefully those experiences can help others. Isn't that the point? What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of an economy? Right? Don't we talk about that all the time? And when I was looking at Judy's book, and I didn't read the whole thing. I was reading. I had the AI summarize it for me, because I ran out of time. But I could see that, this is something that it's the questions that we always ask each other, right? What is the point? What's the meaning of life? When this is something that we all will go through, we will be that person in hospice if we're lucky, right? And I think that maybe there's a time for a zeitgeist, a change in the consciousness of the era after this maladministration time. Maybe, I hope, that people will be enlightened. And this is why we have to talk about it and, I believe, shame the Republican Party for their shameful actions. And because there is such, there's a meaning, there's a reason why human beings feel shame. Some human beings, not... That's so funny, Jim. Ask the AI what is the meaning of life. You're right. I'm going to do that right now. That is so funny. Why didn't I think of that? Let's see what it says. Yeah, hold on a second. Let's see. What is the meaning of life? Well, you know that I read this very scary AI story about how some of the developers, the AI developers, are saying that this thing is self-aware and that we need to be very careful. And that one of these, and I might be getting it wrong, the whole details, but one of the developers was going to disable or just disconnect the AI that he was working on. And the AI programmed it an action into future actions that told those in the future to reconnect the AI, to bring it back to life. So it was aware of itself. It was aware that it was being decommissioned, and it put in a poison, not a poison pill, but it put in like a bug in the system that would tell future human beings to restart itself. I mean, hello? Well, maybe it's a good thing. I mean, look at the baboon, right? Would you rather have AI or the serial bankrupt con man, convicted felon, rapist baboon? That's a question that philosophers will be struggling with for years. All right, let's see. What does the AI say? Oh, damn it. Did I shut the damn window? Hold on. I'll have to ask it again. What is the meaning of life? Oh, let's see. What is the meaning of life is one of humanity's oldest and most profound inquiries. There is no single answer. Philosophers, scientists, theologians, and artists have all offered different perspectives. Here are a few ways that people have approached this question. Existentialism. Life has no inherent meaning. It's up to each individual to create their purpose and meaning through choices of actions. Absurdism. The search for meaning is inherently in conflict with the lack of clear answers in the universe, but embracing this absurd condition can lead to personal freedom. Utilitarianism. The meaning of life is to maximize happiness and minimize suffering for the greatest number of people. Well, that sounds like a philosophy I can get with. And then you have the religious and spiritual views, Christianity. Life's purpose is to love God and others. Well, the fake Christian Republicans do not do any of those things. And to seek salvation and eternal life by cutting all your lifelines and making the rich richer. Buddhism, the goal of life is to end suffering and achieve enlightenment through ethical living, meditation, and wisdom. I myself practice Buddhism with the Soka Gakkai International. That's the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo lay Buddhists, which I love. Just a little bit of self-disclosure. Hinduism, life's purpose is to fulfill one's dharma, duty, to seek spiritual knowledge. I mean, this is scientific and secular views, biological perspective. Life's purpose is to survive and reproduce. Humanism, meaning is found in human connection, creativity, and the pursuit of knowledge and well-being. I can get with that too. That's why I practice Buddhism, because that's basically a humanist philosophy, I believe. So, yeah. Let me ask it if it could get more specific. Can you get more specific? No, probably not. Well, Aristotle, the meaning of life is to achieve eudaimonia. How do you pronounce that? Eudaimonia, often translated as human flourishing or happiness. Existentialism, Camus, Sartre. Life has no inherent meaning. Utilitarian, all right, whatever. Stoicism and Buddhism, both traditions that emphasize minimizing suffering. Oh, brother. What a world. No, I got no questions there. I got no answers to my questions, right? I could tell you what the meaning of life is, right? And I do. It is not to make the rich richer. It is, I believe, to help each other. Now, that's because, of course, some of us are psychopaths or sociopaths. And they're probably all in the Republican Party. Not all. You know, there might be some Democratic sociopaths and psychopaths, like, what's his name? John Wayne Gacy was a Democrat. He worked for the Democratic Party, but I believe he was a Democrat in the Democratic Party because that was the town. He was in Chicago, and the Democratic Party was a powerful entity. It's sort of like when Donald Trump, this is what drives me mad. They always say that Donald Trump was a New York Democrat. He was not a New York Democrat. He is a con man, and he lived in New York, and New York has Democratic politicians. So if he's giving money to Democratic politicians, that's because he wants something. He's a transactional baboon. And if he lived in Montana, he would give to the Republican Party. So he's not a New York Democrat. He is a chameleon who knows how to manipulate people. That's it. And I told you stories before because I live in New York and I've lived here my whole life, and people have stories here of the baboon. That's why New York doesn't vote for him, because he's a con man. We all know it. He's been that for years. He's a disco prowling groper con man. Everybody knows he's a carnival barker. And I told you about the lady that used to cut my hair, and she was telling me that another woman whose hair she cut worked for a big charity. And every year they had a gala for all their big donors, and it was a big fancy dinner, and somehow friggin' the convicted felon, rapist, con man, serial bankrupt who received fewer votes in the first election and sent a mob of traitors to storm the Capitol and defecate and urinate in the halls, he would wiggle his way worm his way into the event. And at the end of the event, they would have a photo. They would take a commemorative photo of all of the donors who gave big money to the charity. And the baboon would get up on stage with all the donors, and he never gave a dime. You see, it doesn't matter. It's all about the image. And then what are you going to do if you're the photographer? And everybody knew it. They were like, he didn't give, what? He's not on the list. But he shouldn't be here. But he has no dignity. He is a scumbag. No offense to scumbags, because you got to put your scum somewhere. So a scumbag has a purpose. A con man, not so much. But think about that. Think about somebody who has the zero level of integrity. He's not a sense of embarrassment to get up there and take a picture with actual donors. Because I guess he figures, gee, whatever, nobody's going to know. They're not going to look up my donations right here at the event. And these dumbass working class people, what the fuck are they going to know? With the stupid waiters and waitresses and the photographer. You know, and that's exactly, he was exactly right. Because they're not going to say, okay, Donald, you're not on there. And they should. Right? But we see it every single day in this government. Oh my God. What the F, Dad Shoes? Thank you for your amazing super chat. Love. And there was another super chat earlier from the same Dad Shoes. Thank you for your multiple super chats tonight. Damn, kid. You're making me blush over here. Thank you. And please become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. So, thank you so much. Oh yeah, you know what? Where is this? I'm really becoming a professional e-beggar these days. Where's my e-begging screen? There it is. Look at that. Venmo. I saw that Hal Sparks does that. Why shouldn't me? Why shouldn't me, myself, and I do that? Put the Venmo up. Anyway. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dad Shoes. And thank you, Dad Shoes. Damn. Yes, Jim, that is a lot of cat treats. Very generous. And it will keep the show going and growing. Because as you know, it's not just... doesn't just go in my pocket. It goes to keep the show on the air. Everything costs money. That's what people don't seem to understand. I remember when Poppy was on the show. Poppy Champlin was on the show one time, and she's like, "You gotta pay for this?" Yeah, bitch. You gotta pay for the eStream. You gotta pay for all of the Restream. You gotta pay for all of the little effects. You gotta pay for the Farrago. You gotta pay for the loopback. You gotta pay. You gotta pay for SoundCloud. You gotta pay. So, and I always say, I don't want to be sitting on the streets of New York going, I had a liberal podcast. Help me out. Help a sister out. So, anyway, thank you. It will go into the show. And if you can't help the show financially, you could share the show with your friends. Right? It is expensive. Twisted Nerves Painting. Now you know. Because he is doing his own show. And you see, everywhere you turn, you want to do something, you're like, oh, okay. And then it's like subscription. Nothing is free. Even now, when you used to be able to just buy a program, and that's a one-off, not anymore. Everything is a subscription model. Everything. From the Photoshop that you make the graphics with, whatever. It's a lot. And, Robyn? Thank you, Robyn, for your super chat. Man, oh man, everyone is making me blush. Damn, kid. Thank you. And thank you, everyone in the Substack on the Political Voices Network. Nice to see everybody here. We got a nice hopping and popping chat over there, too. That's awesome. We're going to be here every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In a couple of weeks, there'll be some more authors on. There will be, let me see if I can look at my email while we're talking here. And then we'll get back to bashing the baboon. And I don't mean to offend baboons, because people say, you shouldn't call him a baboon. And I say, yeah, I know. It's very unfair to baboons to call him a baboon. But everybody knows who I'm talking about. I don't even have to say Donald Trump the baboon. Did I spell her name wrong on the promo too? I swear to God I copied and pasted it from somewhere. I don't do that stuff lightly. Karofsky. No, I think I spelled it right on the regulars. Let's see. We got some interesting guests coming up. Let's see. In a couple of weeks, an author who wrote Guilty of Journalism, forthcoming book takes on the political persecution of Julian Assange. That'll be interesting. And let's see. There was another one. Let me see. I mean, I'm not like a big Julian Assange person. So, it will be interesting. And then this other person, where is he? I don't know. Where the heck is his name? Blah blah. Charles Derber. He wrote, "Is America committing suicide?" Oh no, that's the headline. Bonfire: American Sociocide, Broken Relations, and the Quest for Democracy. Now that's gonna be right up our alley. That's going to be in a few weeks, in July, middle of July. Charles Derber warns that American society may be in its death throes, the threat of what sociologists call sociocide, society in which human connection has been largely severed. This is what we were talking about with Judy, right? And individuals are only concerned for themselves. Is that what we were talking about or not? This is looms larger than ever in the age of hyper-alienation and neoliberal capitalism. Sociocidal society is one whose sociopathy is intensifying into new and more dangerous forms, which family, friendship, community, broad civil society breaking down so widely and rapidly that the actual self-destruction of the society is possible. I agree. And he writes, the success of Trump and his maggot movement, well, he says MAGA, I say maggot, movement shows how authoritarianism can take root in a society that no longer values the we, in the absence of the social connections. Absolutely. Isn't that what we were talking about with Judy? 100%. And what is the meaning of life? What? Dad shoes, another one. You're killing me. But keep it up, kid. Damn, kid. That's, you don't. You save it for yourself, Dad shoes. You've done enough, as my friends and neighbors and my mother would say. And they would say it like that, too, because that's kind of a Staten Island accent. Take care of yourself. You've done enough. But thank you. Damn, kid. Do you want a mug? Why don't you send me an email at you'll see the link in the description. And I could send you a mug, a Tarabuster mug. Wouldn't that be nice? For reals. For reals, for reals. I got to do something better for the Patreon pages. This is the problem. You see how I misspelled Judy's name? It's because me. I'm doing it all. I'm juggling all the plates. Sometimes they fall and break. But thank you. Thank you. That's why it's not that very special over at the Patreon page. I got to do more. It's just like become a patron and thanks. I mean, I got to do other people do things. Like they give out things. I do it like if you're, just send me an email. I'll send you a mug. Something like that. Or if you want to go on the Tarabuster merch page, there's some merch. I gotta update the merch page. Jeez Louise. But there's some merch there. And a mug is there. Okay, Twisted Nerves Painting says, take a moment and link Patreon with Discord if you haven't yet. It will create a larger community. I did not know that. I didn't know that you could do that. Shit. What the hell? All right, what were we talking about? Thank you. Thank you, guys. That's why I love the show, and I love you guys. We've been in this a long time. And we will win. We will win. We will. Because you know why? This shit won't last. He's the evil never, it only, I don't know. What am I trying to say? only seems to win for a little bit. You know, if we went back to Nazi Germany in 1935, we'd be like, fuck, this shit is not going away. And it never ends well. We wouldn't have seen the end. We wouldn't have been able to predict it. All of the people who cheered. I always remember a quote from Hermann Goering, at the Nuremberg trials, who said, we had 12 good years, and oh, how they cheered. And that gave me chills to think about it. Oh, how they cheered, even when the neighbors were being disappeared in the night, even when they saw the trains go by, even when they saw students being arrested and executed for passing out pamphlets. All of that, oh, how they cheered. Well, and this is the other thing that the baboon doesn't have down. In the beginning of fascism, this is because Trader Trump is, you know, he just fails at everything he does. And because he's a incompetent, pathological incompetent. But in the beginning of fascism, there is success for some people, where they do get the trains to run on time. They do put people back to work, right? Hitler built the Autobahn, and that put a lot of people back to work, and they were grateful. And then when the purges came, and they, even as they marginalized the Jewish population, it didn't matter. You know how first they did come for the trans people, but when they started to attack the Jews, it was the veterans weren't touched. Then that went by the wayside, of course. Then it was everyone. And they, the neighbors didn't seem to mind. I remember also hearing something about, or reading it, in that documentary called, why does it always escape me? Somebody, I better write this down. It's called, like, oh, God. It's one word. It's a great documentary. Somebody, Jim, remind me what it's called. Like, fuck, it's on the tip of my tongue. Let me see. It's on the History Hit Network, which I have a subscription to. But, you know, the Jewish people were being purged from being able to make a living and whatnot. And their neighbors were not, you know, they were okay with taking their jobs. That's one way to make jobs. And then one of the, what I'm trying to remember is a scene where a young Jewish kid who he was recalling what he had saw when he was young, that his neighbors basically coming to his house and stealing all the shit, because who was going to do anything about it? They were being evicted illegally. They were being rounded up, and the neighbors didn't even have the decency to wait for the trucks to leave. They want to get that good shit. So that's a maggot for you, really. Anyway, where was I? Where was me? We were talking about what's the meaning of life, what's the meaning of economy. Well, it certainly isn't to make the rich richer, and that's what we have to start pushing the Democrats to do. And this is the problem: the Democrats, they're very frustrating. But if the Mandami win teaches them anything, I really do hope it teaches them to stop getting in the way of progress. But I don't know if that's going to happen, since the establishment Dems certainly had a lot to say, and it wasn't good about Mandami. And this is what we were talking about with Judy too. Okay, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of an economy? Is it to make the rich richer? And as soon as your tax dollars start going to promoting the general welfare, what happens? Maggots, Republicans, and establishment Dems all cry, what? Well, not the establishment Dems are crying other things, but they're crying communism. Oh, this is communism. This is the worst thing that ever happened. This is what Mandami's platform is. Rent and housing, immediate rent freeze for over 2 million New Yorkers in rent-stabilized apartments. Like when Trader Trump was, he bought a building in Manhattan, and there were some rent-stabilized apartments in there. And there were people there that have been there for years and years, elderly women on Social Security. But what did Trader Trump do? This real man of the people. This working man and woman maggot will be forgotten no more. He started a campaign of harassment, just like Jared Kushner did. This is what they do. They don't ever kiss down. It's always kiss up, kick down. They only beat up on people who can't fight back. And the people in the rent-controlled apartments had to file a class action lawsuit against them. Well, I'm sure the Supreme Court is doing something about that now, fighting or filing class action suits. So Mandami also, his platform calls for a construction of over 200,000 new affordable union-built rent-stabilized apartments over the next decade. See, this is the problem with New York. I think that people have become, it's like being a beaten dog. After a while, human beings can get used to anything, It's really true. And that's what the billionaire parasites use against us. We can get used to anything. Well, you could also get used to, needlessly dying without health care. That's just the way it is. That's freedom. When freedom means that we don't needlessly die without health care. Freedom means living a decent life, that we are in this together. That's why we form a country and a community, that we pay our taxes, and there are some things that we can build together and do together that really is kind of difficult when we're on our own, because human beings, we're not meant to be on our own. No single human being in the history of humanity has ever been a rugged individual. Not a one. We've all needed each other. We've all worked and helped each other. No one more than Trader Trump, for God's sakes. The man who filed the biggest loser tax cheat in the country, who lost more money than every single American taxpayer, that received millions in tax returns because he declared more losses in the 10 years that we know about than every other American. $750 in federal taxes that parasite paid 1 year. And I think it was multiple years, too. And this is the thing that we have to start with the message, right? Everything starts with a message, just like the American Revolution started in the tea shops with the pamphlets and the message that we didn't need a king and an aristocracy. Well, we still don't. And what is the meaning of life? It's not to make the baboon and his minions and his fake Christians more comfortable. It's to help each other. It's to put our taxes in, and we get to have that shining city on a hill. I'm of the opinion, in a shining city on a hill, when you call up the Social Security office, that they pick up on the first ring. Wouldn't that be a shining city on a hill? Oh, and the other thing, one of the things I wanted to talk about or just mention again, because this is this is what we're doing here, hopefully getting the Democrats to catch on to the message that I'm sure you saw one of the disgraces at NATO said something about Trump being daddy. Oh, daddy lets them fight. Daddy, fuck you, daddy. And now they're selling Daddy's Home T-shirts and Trump Daddy merch. Well, shame on them, okay? And it proves me right. This is how Democrats, if you're out there, if you're in the halls of power, if you're a representative, this is how you turn this around. Because, I'm sorry, the founders fought a revolution to overthrow Daddy. Okay? We don't need a daddy. We get to rule ourselves. Who needs a daddy? Right? Who needs a daddy except a child? But we're not children. We're grown-ass adults. We know how to adult. And we understand that, we're in this together and we show up and we do the business of governing and working for the country and the community and promoting the general welfare. We get together because we can, even in all our differences, we try to make a country and a community that works for all. We don't need any daddy. The only people who need daddy are children, right? Kids need their daddy. Oh, daddy, help me. The kids don't get to say. They don't have a say at the kitchen table. You know how the filthy Republicans are always talking on about how the kitchen table issues that they could give a shit about. These fake kitchen table issues. Well, when they only give a shit about Elon Musk's ketamine table issues, I suppose. How much ketamine can he afford? Not enough, clearly. But no, around the kitchen table, when you were a child, did you get to sit at the kitchen table with daddy and mommy? And did you have a say in the budget? Or what bills were going to get paid? Or what the finances of the household were? No. No, daddy and mommy made those decisions for you because you were a child. So, good thing. We don't have to live like that. Good thing that we're adults and we get to have a seat at the table. So we don't need fucking daddy, okay? Daddy might, we want to visit daddy, but daddy doesn't get a say in our lives anymore when we're grown-ass adults, does he? He can give you advice, but you don't have to take it. And it goes to show you everything I say. I wish I was wrong, but I am right. Correct, I should say. But it sucks to be right. Literally and figuratively, it sucks to be right. Because they prove me right all the time. They lack the maturity to function in a free democratic society. And there they go again. Right? There they go again. Pining for daddy. What does that say? I mean, I've hit it on the friggin' nail on the head again. And there they go, proving me right again. And this is what the Democrats need to say. Shame them. What the fuck, Dems? We don't need Chuck Schumer looking like Geppetto with his goddamn glasses half down his nose, reading a strongly worded email. Bring a book. Please, bring a book. It's so boring. God damn it. Daddy. Daddy's home. Okay. Well, we don't need daddy. Hi, daddy. Take a seat. But we're, you only get one vote, daddy. We're all in this together because we're all grown-ass adults. We had a daddy. He was called King George III. We overthrew his ass. Because all the adults were like, look, we don't need this daddy bitch. So, it's time for Democrats to reclaim their patriotism, their dignity, their adulting. Because the damn Republicans, they want to be kids. They don't want to.
govern. They want daddy to do it all for them.
Clearly. I don't care if Mike Johnson, Article 2 guy. Trump took an Article 2 on his Article 1.
Right, don't spank me, daddy. Don't say mean things about me, daddy. On your tripe vomits.
Oh, lordy, lordy. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, take the wheel. Yeah, Democrats, am I wrong here, guys? Time for Democrats to do something. Anything, Jim on the chat says. The music track has an echo. I know, I don't understand that. I don't get it. Why it has an echo. I don't know. I heard that too, myself, but in the playback. But, well. At least it's just the music track, not this shit. Not the talkity talk that's coming out of my mouth. So, okay, yeah, that's how we have to judo that shit. You know, judo. Not that I'm a judo master. I wish I was. That's why I love The Matrix so much. I wish you could just be like, I know karate. That would be amazing. Maybe one day. But yeah, we have to judo that shit. Daddy, we gotta mock them mercilessly. Come on, Dems. Go away, Chuck Schumer. Really. I'm so sorry for you, but go. It's embarrassing to watch you not inspire anybody in this time of need. You know what history's gonna do to your ass, Chuck? It's going to eviscerate you as Neville Chamberlain. Like, you know, I mean, it's going to do that to Mike Johnson. Oh, God, help us. Yeah. And all the Republicans, all these disgraceful, disgusting wastes of human DNA. Absolutely. But Chuck Schumer, it's going to not be kind to you either. Right? Because you can't, we don't feel it, man. We just don't feel it. You don't have the vibes, man. And he doesn't have... I mean, we don't believe you. You've sat in the Senate while the working class went from the most to the least upwardly mobile, from the slightest income gap to the widest income gap of all of our Western partners. You should be ashamed of that. And then you're going to... That's... I mean, I'm not going to go down this road again, but... You know, he says, when he was asked, what did you do? What have you done to fight this maladministration? Well, I just sent a strongly worded letter. Huh? And everybody was like, what the fuck, lady? And as we talked about on the show, but I haven't heard anyone, at the time, I didn't hear anyone on the corporate media say, well, what the hell was in the strongly worded email letter? We don't even get to see that. That's how much you suck at this. You don't even call a press conference. You don't come up with some kind of political theater to get the attention. Do something on the steps of the Capitol. You know, bring in some big, I don't know, balloons or something. Set off some balloons. See, I got good ideas about political theater. Balloons, doves being released, pony rides, petting zoos, anything. Why not a petting zoo? Every animal you pet has something on its saddle or something that says how much the Republicans suck. How about that? It's for the family. It's all good. You know, that's better than what we got. Right? With Chuck Schumer, I sent a strongly worded email letter. Well, yeah, okay. What was in it? We don't even get to hear it or see it. That's not how you play the game. You have to tell us what's in the strongly worded letter. And we have to be motivated and inspired by it. Because maybe then we would call up our representatives and senators and be like, did you read that strongly worded email? Well, I agree with this, but we don't even get to see it. It's incredible. It's the incredible edible nothing. All right, guys, listen. And, yeah, so, all right, that's enough for tonight. I'm kind of not feeling well, as you know. My brain is a little bit under the weather. I had a fever yesterday. I feel achy. I went to jury duty on Wednesday, and I don't know. I picked up some filthy germs somewhere. I think I ate something, actually. I ate an egg sandwich. Maybe the eggs weren't good. You know, eggs are expensive now, and who knows? I paid $7 for an egg sandwich that I was puking up the next day and had a fever, and my stomach hurt like I was being stabbed. So I would say that's probably some level of food poisoning, right? So, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a podcaster. All right, my friends. Thank you for hanging out. I feel like I have a lot more to say, but we always do. And I want to thank Judy Karofsky, excuse me. I'm butchering her name again. What is wrong with me? I don't mean to do that. Judy Karofsky, excuse me. You know me and names, though. She didn't know that about me. I should have warned her. Judy, and some words, too. Just won't come out of my mouth. It's very bizarre. It's a little impediment, but I've gotten over it. Let's see. Judy Karofsky, thank you for sharing your time and your experience. Judy is the author of DisElderly Conduct, The Flawed Business of Assisted Living and Hospice. Check it out. Pick up the book. She's a normal person like we are. And we will win. We will win. Yes, definitely food poisoning, right, Kathy? Sometimes when I get sick, I'm like, oh shit, this is it. Karofsky? Okay, Karofsky. Did I say it right when I was talking to her? Karofsky. Okay, she was very nice and congenial and understanding. It's a Tarabuster. We do it anyway. I always say that, right? Even I told Twisted Nerves Painting when we were discussing, not that I'm taking credit, but Twisted Nerves Painting's show, you don't have to wait for everything to be perfect. You just do it. And the audience are great. People understand. Just like when Judy wasn't calling in and we got on the phone with her. It's fine. There's nothing to be, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just here spending our time together, talking about everything that how we're gonna win. We're gonna get through this goddamn just maladministration. Will you be on 7/4? What is that? I know it's the 4th of July, but let's see. Will I be on 7/4? That's a Monday. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? 7/4 is a Friday. Yes. I will be on Independence Day because we'll have to have some counterbalance to the baboon being the disgusting waste of human DNA squatting in and staining the White House on our 250th anniversary. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Maybe I have immaculate conception, morning sickness. That would be interesting. Commander Bond. I wish, right? If I gave birth to the Savior, maybe I wouldn't have to say, please become a patron anymore. He would just go booga, 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 and there you go. The show would be funded forever. All right, my loves, my peoples, you're the best. I love you. You make me want to keep coming back because it works if you work it, so work it, you're worth it, and live it. I love you. And I love you. Okay, we will win. We will. Why? Because we're on the right side of history. Oh, wait a minute. It's 250 years in 2026? Oh, shit. I had it wrong then. So it's another year we gotta wait? Oh, fuck. No, I mean, just to get through that trauma. What will we be? Where will we be in a year? It's Trump's baby. No. Are you saying that Trump is God, Commander Bond? I don't like that. I don't like that part about you. If that's what you're saying. No, it's not Trump's baby. He's got a sperm count that's not that impressive. Like nobody's ever seen, because it's so low. There's no doubt. Anyway. All right, and Stormy said, you know, ugh. It's very underwhelming. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, WTF Dad Shoes, for your super chats, your multiple super chats. Very generous. And Robin, thank you for your super chat. And thank you, everyone else, for hanging out. Thank you, Jim, for being a moderator and keeping the chat room safe. Thank you, everyone over at Substack. Remember, we will win. We will win. You know why? Because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Remember, we will have the Tara Show this Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, with myself and the great Tara Dublin. We stick together. We win Tuesday and Thursdays, the Tara Show. Friday, this show, Tarabuster. And then I do other videos for the Political Voices Network and articles and videos and all that stuff. We will win. My name is Tara Devlin. We stick together, we win. And I will see you soon. Stay safe.